I'm sick and tired of these wasted talking stages. Just meeting the same guy over and over and over again, just for it to all go nowhere. Are there even any good men left out there?
Well, I want to talk about it,
Okay.
but I
But
feel like it would be a waste.
all right. So with that, Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the Muslim Marriage Podcast, where we show you how to find and build a healthy marriage as a Muslim. I'm Zara Hassan.
And I'm AJ, and we've been married for 3.5 years. If you like our videos, please comment and subscribe. Ask your questions below, and you may feature in one of our videos. And now, don't forget to check out our website, zahrahassancoaching.com.
And as a thank you, get your free copy of the compatibility guide available in the link below.
Yes.
So, as you may have guessed, this week we're going to be talking about wasted talking stages.
Mm-hmm.
And how exhausting is it? What is it that they feel like? How do they tend to go? And most importantly, how do we stop making them happy? Sorry,
Yes, indeed.
did I say happy? I meant, how do we stop making them happen?
Well, I'll tell you what, I certainly know about putting effort in to your work and your craft, because y'all may have seen that splash page for the website. That was me.
Oh, yeah.
Took me half a day to figure out how to learn Blender,
Yeah.
but I was able to make that little masterpiece.
I liked it. I thought it was very creative.
It sparks joy.
It does. I was very impressed. With that, let's get to this week's question coming from the Muslim Marriage subreddit. A young sister asks, actually, she doesn't ask a question. In this case, she makes a point, and I thought it was an important point we're going to go through. It's entitled Stages of a Match. So stage 1, you match and he's kind of cute. Stage number 2, he slides into your DM with a witty greeting, or you approach him first because it's this year, and he enthusiastically responds, gasp. Then stage 3, you'll start with a small talk. He likes insert popular but niche thing here. And you do too. How weird. It's also cute that he knows how to cook. Stage 4, you each start asking each other questions and you'll start to realize you're compatible. Stage 5, he responds faster now and the give and take is 50-50. Everything seems natural. He's actually interesting and so are you. Stage 6, you have been talking for days with no let up. His responses are longer since you're talking about more important things now. He might be the one. He's checking a lot of your boxes except a few, but then, hey, nobody's perfect. Stage 7. This continues for a few days. You anxiously await for another text, and there it is. At this point, you start wondering how to tell your parents that you met somebody. Stage 8. You get left undelivered for 2 days. Stage 9. You start overthinking. Where did he go all of a sudden? He probably lost interest. You turn on notifications. You cry because the possibility of him ghosting you is too much. You realize you're emotionally invested. Stage 10, he responds. Stage 11, you start talking again, but it's more 70-30 at this point. It's fine though, he didn't ghost you. You wonder why you even second guessed him. He was probably busy, duh. Stage 12, he leaves you on red for another day. You subconsciously know where this is going to go, but you refuse to face it. You anxiously await a text. Stage 13, he responds with one word, no more questions. If you aren't desperate, you leave him on red. If you do respond, he repeats steps 8 to 12 until you gain some sense. And congratulations, you wasted 2 to 3 weeks and you're back to where you started, rinse and repeat. So the person put a disclaimer, this is based on personal experience with all my matches so far, LOL. I'm not sure how everyone had this experience, but I just thought it was fun to write about it.
How many stages was that in total?
She wrote 13 stages.
Oh, okay, 13 reasons why. So here's the thing,
Okay.
right? She's missing a stage.
What's this?
Stage 14, you find out he's a vampire. He's only interested in you for the pure blood.
That's what it was?
Now, my reasons only go up to 5 reasons,
Okay.
right? Stage 1 is denial.
Interesting. But I can relate to what it is that she posted here because that's the experience that is described by so many of my clients. Definitely the experience that I had, especially in the beginning, where it felt like this cycle of meeting somebody, finding each other interesting, developing a connection enough to start to talk to your parents and say, hey, I met somebody, let's get the ball rolling in the direction of marriage, and then they somehow fall off and eventually ghost. Did you experience anything like that, or did you just
Yeah, I
go
actually
straight?
spoke on it
Yeah,
on the podcast.
but does it, like, this specific pattern, because I don't know what it's like on
No,
you
not at
guys'
all.
side.
No.
So what is it like on the men's side? What do you guys experience?
On the men's side,
Yeah.
stage 1,
Mm-hmm.
you guys are amicable, right? Agreeable.
Mm-hmm.
Stage 2, you guys are amicable,
Mm-hmm.
agreeable.
Yeah.
Stage 3, you guys are amicable, agreeable.
Okay.
Stage 4,
Mm-hmm.
more of the same.
Uh-huh.
Stage 5, she says she wants to focus on her studies.
And that's it.
Yeah.
Actually, the comments underneath this were pretty funny. A bunch of the gentlemen, they said, ours is very different. Stage 1, you find somebody attractive. Stage 2, they blocked you. And
Yeah.
that's the end of everything.
That's pretty much it.
That's
pretty much it. Yeah.
It's more severe. It's faster.
Yeah.
At least it's a lot less time wasted.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is one of the most common questions that I get in my coaching practice is, why does this cycle happen? Like, what are the intentions behind it all? Because you notice that the gentleman in her example didn't actually leave, right? He still sporadically responds.
Mm-hmm.
So why do people do that? And the second question is, how do we make that stop? So let's start with the first one. Why do people do this? So as a representative of all men, why are you guys like this?
I can't, and I'm not equipped to answer that question
Mm-hmm.
because though I'm not a smoker, I'm not able to answer questions on behalf of smokers,
Yeah.
right? And you could make the argument that men are smokers, like
Mhm.
there are men that are smokers,
Mm-hmm.
but that doesn't automatically mean that I as a man can answer on behalf of smokers.
Mm-hmm.
And in the same vein, I as a man can't answer on people that behave that way because I don't behave that way.
Well, I mean, if you're gonna keep leaving in those puffs of smoke
Yeah.
with all that ghosting,
Yeah.
I don't know. I couldn't make the joke work, but somewhere in there's a joke.
Are you saying that the joke was busted?
It was pretty bad.
Yeah.
But
Just like the ghosts?
that was a fair assessment. Right?
Yeah.
That's a fair, the fact that you can't speak to it because you're not this is not something that you
Because
do.
I'm not a criminal.
All right. So we're not going to call these gentlemen criminals, right?
Stop right there, criminal scum.
Okay.
You violated the law.
They're human beings. They're human beings who are figuring themselves
Yeah,
out.
but the guys get that reference.
They do.
And the girls actually might too.
Okay, all right. So I'm the only one who's old. All right, that's fine. But in terms of why do people do this? So I have some ideas simply from doing what I do. And in the very beginning of my coaching career, I was coaching mostly men, right? Because that's just how it worked out to be. So I had quite a bit of experience of seeing what are things like from the other side. And based on that, I developed some ideas. I think that there are in total 7 different archetypes of people. I'm speaking to the women in this particular instance, but for the women, you're going to come across 7 different archetypes of men when you are out there and trying to meet somebody for the purpose of marriage.
How many colors are there in a rainbow? 7 as well, right?
Maybe, honestly, I never...
Roy G. Biv.
Yeah, 7. Yeah.
All right, so men are like a rainbow.
All the different colors.
And we're rare. You hardly ever see us.
Apparently.
But when you do, it's a treat.
Treat is a strong word. Or, like, we keep chasing down these men, hoping for the pot of gold that never appears.
Exactly.
There you go.
Exactly.
All right, we're going to stop
hating. And we're all Irish at the end of that rainbow.
Interesting.
Yeah.
We're going to stop hating on the brothers because everybody's trying to figure themselves out.
I thought we were praising the brothers.
There's a lot more animosity.
This was hatred the whole time?
The whole time.
The whole time.
Coming from my side than your side. But let's put all of that aside and let's just talk a little bit about what I think is going on. So I think there are 7 different archetypes of men that women are going to come across when they're meeting somebody for the purpose of marriage. The 8th archetype is the good man, the one who actually is interested in marriage. But there's at least 7 who are definitely not interested in marriage, but who will appear like they are. And I think quite a few of them present with this pattern of hot and cold, hot and cold, hot and cold. Where in the beginning, generally they come on pretty hot, where with the communication is on point. They're very interested in you, just like this young lady described so beautifully. They're very interested in you. They have a lot of questions. You seem to be on the same page, and then that tends to cool down a little bit towards lukewarm, and then eventually either they're ghosting completely or they continue coming in and then out of your life at random times, right? So that inconsistent pattern. Again, multiple different types of archetypes have this pattern, each one for their own reasons. But I think the most common type is the archetype that I call Mr. Companionship Without Commitment, where this type of archetype, is a gentleman who, for whatever reason, is looking for companionship, but is not yet ready for commitment.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's looking for somebody to, most likely, this is somebody who's lonely. Like, just we're all lonely. But the way that he's decided to soothe the loneliness is by finding somebody to talk to when he's looking for validation, reassurance, all of the things that come with companionship, and then stop talking to them when that happens.
Yeah.
Now, why does it? So because she's offering the companionship, she's offering the reassurance and the validation at a steady rate. In fact, the rate at which she's offering the validation and reassurance will increase with time. Because as more she gets to know this person, as more she becomes emotionally invested, just like this young lady so beautifully described, and she starts speaking to her family about it, like as she becomes more invested over time, she's even more willing to offer this validation and reassurance and companionship. Now, why is it then that that from his side, this gentleman starts to go lukewarm and to cold? What do you think?
Honestly, it's a good question. I don't know why. I figure as a guy, if you find someone that likes you, you should just get married as soon as possible.
Yeah, that would make sense. But
The ideal, yeah.
As most of us have seen in the news and everywhere else, this world doesn't really make sense right now. But,
yeah.
And this is one of the places it doesn't make sense. So I have a theory. I think it's because as time goes on, as she becomes more emotionally invested, another thing that happens is that her expectations are going to increase. Right? So her expectations of him are going to increase in terms of, well, now I expect your reassurance and validation. And now I expect, some outward display or some outward assurance of your commitment that you and I are on the same page. Do you want to meet my dad? Do you want to meet my brother? If it's long distance, let's talk about how we're going to meet. You're going to meet my family in person. Like, where she starts having expectations about the emotional exchange. And at the same time, she's going to have expectations about how to move the situation closer towards marriage. And this is most likely when he starts to go lukewarm to cold. What do you think about all that?
I mean, it depends, right? Like, I have no idea how those kind of men think, because like it's not the type of thoughts that I would have.
Yeah.
But I understand how you would try to defer to me because I'm a man, and I have closer understanding of how men would think about these subjects, and I have friends that may or may not do these kind of things. Of course, without my knowledge, right? But of course, I've had a lot of guy friends in the past. No, like based off of everything that I've seen in the world and Western culture and whatnot, yeah, I believe there would be that type of guy who wants to either hang out or do things not halal. And if the prospect of getting married or meeting the family is involved, would say peace.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Then they start to back out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. Like, as Muslims, And even as Christians,
Mm-hmm.
it's not something that you should do.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be you get married first. The world seems to have forgotten that.
It's a lot of things. So this archetype, generally, I call him Mr. Uncommitted.
Yeah.
Right. Mr. Uncommitted is looking for the companionship to soothe the loneliness generally. And that companionship can come in the form of emotional intimacy
Mm-hmm.
or sometimes physical intimacy.
Yeah.
So this is something that it's important that women are aware of, that there are people who are going to present themselves as pretty much everything that you're looking for in an effort to extract from you one of these two things. And these type of people, when they start to see that, okay, her boundaries are really strong or her expectations are really high, one of those two, then they'll start to back out of the situation. Sometimes you won't notice that that's happening until a month in, we'll call 2 weeks in, 3 weeks in, like she mentioned, but it's usually closer to a month, sometimes 2 months in. And the reason, even if In Shaa Allah nothing happens, right, even if you were able to understand and clock what's happening and end the situation, or even if this gentleman was just looking for emotional intimacy and you just didn't really clock that, and you were just trying to move along a situation towards marriage, which is not what he was doing at all. So it just sort of goes in this lukewarm, hot, cold, lukewarm, hot, cold for months on end, which is much more common, and until before it eventually ends. The damage, that happens here is time
Yeah.
wasted, and especially if we don't fully understand what is happening and how to recognize it early, you're just gonna find yourself repeating the same pattern over and over again, and that time wasted goes from weeks to months to years very quickly.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and the emotional toll it takes is astronomical. Where you're going through the same cycle over and over again, especially if you're already carrying a wound of fear of rejection, or a wound around self-worth, or a wound around abandonment. This is just going to be triggering you like nothing else. So the emotional toll is even more so. So how do we stop all this from happening? How do we just sidestep this altogether? That's the question, right?
Well, you don't talk to them until you have them meet papa.
That is one way, and that's the way that our religion offers. And honestly, it helps you sidestep a lot of people, because
Accountability.
because Mr. Uncommitted won't meet your family.
Yeah.
He won't meet your family if that's something that you put up as a boundary at from the beginning. Then it might be a little bit exhausting for your brother or your dad. I know my dad was thoroughly exhausted by the process. But it saves you a lot of time, because you'll cut down on the number of Mr. Uncommitteds, which is the most common archetype you'll come across.
I can put it in perspective for y'all.
Yeah.
It's like if someone wants to rob something, like a store, right? And there's no one in the store, and like the lights are off and everything.
Yeah.
And they believe that they're invisible.
Yeah.
They'll try to rob the store, and they'll feel comfortable doing so. But if there's even 1 or 2, 3 people in the store, and they're trying to rob it and not like stick it up,
Yeah.
they'll feel shy.
Yeah.
Now, if their family was in that store,
Yeah.
they would not want to rob that store
At all.
right?
Yeah.
So, like, meeting the parents is of the same nature.
Yeah, it's protective.
You know? Yeah. It's, first of all, your family is there, and your family is going to be watching you. And if you try to rob that store, your family going to call the cops on you. Right?
All right.
And his family is there. And if his family tries to rob that store, then they're going to call the cops,
Part of the reason why this type of gentleman is lonely in the first place is not as much connection with the people in his life, including family members, friends,
lawyers.
lawyers. Just the emotional connection is just not as strong there. So he's looking for a surrogate, a different to create a different place where he can have that again validation and reassurance that we crave as human beings, right? All you have to do is look at the social media industry, which is based upon validation and reassurance, or external validation reassurance. But
if he's looking for a surrogate, there's a bank for him.
What does the bank do?
I'm not going to mention the bank.
All right. So we're gonna figure that out.
Let's
later.
move on.
Let's move on. So the question in terms of how do we cut down as a woman, and you're out there trying to meet somebody, how do you cut down on the time wasted with this type of gentleman? Yes. First way is going to be requiring that your parents or your wali, whoever is your wali, is met early. That way is helpful.
Yeah.
Another way that I teach my clients, actually what we spend a lot of time teaching my clients, is learning how to recognize Mr. Uncommitted as quickly as possible. Yeah. And if you know what you're doing, you can recognize it. If you're using the matrimonial apps, you can recognize him from his bio. Right? From his bio. If you know what it is that you're looking for, what to look for, you won't even need to swipe. You'll recognize him from the bio, and you'll be able to swipe left and move on with your life and save so much time, weeks and months.
So much time.
Yes. And even if, somehow he slips through the cracks, right? And this is somebody, for example, you meet through your family, because Mr. Uncommitted can come to you multiple different ways. It doesn't always have to come to you through the matrimonial apps. Yeah. It could be somebody you met at work, through your family, even at the masjid, right? Or this person sees an opportunity to find an emotional surrogate. So he's like, yeah, okay, let's start a talking stage. You can still recognize him very early on from the way that he approaches you, in terms of because everybody eventually communicates through texting. So the way that he approaches you through texting or talking to you through the inbox, there are telltale signs. Yeah.
To me, I feel like texting is a side door,
Yeah.
Like the conventional methods, that's knocking on the door and saying, hey, is so-and-so home, right? But texting, you just forego that entire experience. Yeah. And you go directly to the source. So you knock on the side door, or you climb in through a window or something like that.
No, that's not.
Where it's just direct contact between you and the person. You don't have to deal with the family. Like, you remember back in the day when we had telephones that were home phones? Yes. Right? And if you call the home phone, the entire family would answer the phone, and you'd be like, oh, hey, can I talk to so-and-so? Yeah, right? Now, in this case, of course, for me, it was my friends. Yeah. And then they'd be like, hey, come down, get the phone. And like, okay. And then they would go, yeah, hello? Hey, do you want to go play basketball together? Yeah. Now, all of a sudden, you just text the person directly.
Oh, I see what you're saying. There is no accountability. There is no family. Yeah, no, definitely.
The family doesn't know who you're talking to.
This is, I think, okay, so this is a tiny bit of a tangent, but I think it's important to be said. I think this is actually one of the reasons why finding a spouse has become so difficult. Over the last, I would say, 10 years or something. Yeah. Simply because before we had community structures and community resources in place, even within the family unit, there were structures in place, just like you mentioned, that sort of created obstacles between you and these obstacles are not just obstacles that prevented this gentleman from approaching you, right? But it's also, they're like little vetting stages. So he has to be vetted multiple times through multiple people before this person can come and speak to you. And for a gentleman willing to go through all of that, this is definitely somebody who wants to get married. Yeah. So because all of those have been taken away, and we're just now in the wild, wild west of the matrimonial apps, which is the reality for most people. It's how you and I met. And we don't have the community resources and structures in place where people were just known, right? Yeah. So if somebody spoke about, for example, Abdullah, right? Abdullah so and so from so and so's house, and he was just known, like your parents knew him. They're like, oh yeah, he does this and he does that, and you would know from him. He would come with a resume simply by existing,
Yeah.
because everybody would know who he is.
Yeah.
All of that's taken away. So now that when you meet an Abdullah, is complete stranger,
Yeah.
100% stranger, and you now have to go in completely blind to try to assess so many different things. You have to assess this person's agenda. Is it the same as yours? Is this person even genuine?
Yeah.
Is what he's saying sincere? And this is all way before you even get to compatibility, right?
Yeah.
Because you have to decide whether
You
or
have
not
to assess safety.
exactly. You have to decide whether or not this is a person is even safe. Let's just start there. So having all of these levels of assessment is not something that we're taught. And for so many of us who grew up in a household or in a place where we never saw what a healthy relationship looks like, and for all of those who were living a life of segregation as our religion demands, who just didn't really talk to the opposite gender, we just went from home to school and back. You now are in this world where yes, go speak to the opposite gender and good luck. Find a husband that you're going to have to be in a house with, sometimes in a different city and country, away from your family. Hopefully it'll be okay. Right? So it's really there's a gap sometimes between changes in society and having societal structures in place to be able to deal with those changes. So we're living in that gap. And in that gap, this is why I do what I do, is to try to show people how to try to start to bridge that gap, to have some of the knowledge to be able to assess a person when they first meet them and figure out, is this person safe? Is their agenda the same as mine? And after going through all of that, okay, now let's start to think about, are they compatible? Is this somebody
You're your own filter?
Exactly. Right? Not one of the hard lessons that we learn is that for women, not all men are safe, and for men, not all women are safe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes I lament being born too late, because I think about it when I'm older, and In Shaa Allah we have a son.
In Shaa Allah.
I wanted to be able to address a woman that would approach my son and say, don't talk to me and my son ever again.
Oh, you just wanted to say that?
Don't
talk to me and my son
ever again. Yeah. And just the amount of authority that line exudes.
Yeah.
I can't have that moment though, because if we do have a son, inshallah, he's just going to bring someone home. He's going to be like, hey, I'm getting married to this woman.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, hi, what's your name?
Yeah, nice to meet you.
Yeah.
At least it's better than I'm already married to this woman. Meet your daughter-in-law.
True.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's so this is why this information is important, because it's not something that I know I didn't learn anywhere. And I had to learn everything that I give to my clients and I teach my clients. Believe me, I've learned it the hard way 7 times over. I'm a slow learner, so I learned it the hard way. So this is what I'm telling the people. Okay, so if we get back to it, of how do you recognize Mr. Uncommitted early on? From his bio and from the DMs, it takes a little bit of time to explain that. I go through that in detail in a workshop that I give once a month on the last Saturday of the month, right? So this month I think is June 26th is the last Saturday. I have to confirm that. For women, it's called Dating App Strategies That Actually Work. It's $25 Canadian per person, and 100% of that money is going to be donated to children living in war zones, right?
That's interesting. Is there a place I can learn more about this?
Yes. That felt natural. That felt really just not written down at all.
I don't know what you're talking about. That's a legitimate question.
Yeah, and of course I'm going to include a link in the description here, but you can also find that on our websites, right? But that's where you can learn more about that. But just to at least give some kind of information here, like as a starting point. I know we're low on time, but just as a starting point, for Mr. Uncommitted. when you meet Mr. Uncommitted, let's say you are on the matrimonial apps, and you're swiping through the bios. The bio of Mr. Uncommitted will tend to be sparse. It'll tend to be blank. It'll tend to be completely 100% written by AI, where he didn't go back and edit anything. And it'll just be extremely low effort. So the overall theme with Mr. Uncommitted, understand that this is not somebody who's looking to marry you. This is somebody who's looking for you to be a source of reassurance and validation. That's it, from time to time. So because what he's wanting from you is extremely limited, by naturally he's not going to put any effort into getting you to agree to that. So you're not going to really experience the love bombing that comes from other archetypes. It's all going to be generally very low effort. When you come across Mr. Committed, and let's say they are messaging you, like in the case of this young woman,
Yeah.
they message you directly somehow. You know, he met somebody in your family, they gave him your information, and he's now messaging you. From the way that he approaches you, again, it's going to be low effort. If you pay attention, like if you take a little bit of a step back, right, and you pay attention to the tempo of the conversation, you'll notice that he'll tend to want to talk about himself because he's looking for your reassurance and validation. And it'll be you who's asking questions, and he'll answer questions, and then he'll ask questions that'll follow up to the ones that you already asked, right?
Yeah.
So if, for example, if you ask, like, you know, what do you do? Where do you work? He'll say, oh, I work here. And then he'll say, where do you work? Because that's just how conversations go.
Yeah.
The questions he'll ask will be generally superficial, right? They're not very deep because he's not looking to marry you. And if you pay attention to the tempo, it's going to be you doing a lot of the work.
Yeah.
You're the one with if it was a rowboat, you're doing most of the paddling.
Sometimes you'll even see the phrase as an AI language model.
As an AI, yes. You asked. Yeah, so generally low effort is the hallmark of Mr. Uncommitted.
Yeah.
And in the workshop, we go through many different examples so that by the time it's only 1 hour, but by the time you leave, you'll be able to recognize him from after having practiced all the different examples. The reason why it's important to know this information is
life-saving.
It can be, but time-saving.
Yeah, which is life.
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
so
time is life.
I cannot tell you the number of Mr. Uncommitteds that have taken so much of my time. Alhamdulillah. But it's, In Shaa Allah, hopefully that was clear. So we went through the 2 questions of why they do this and how to start to recognize that they do this, generally by understanding that everything they do will be low effort, right?
Have you ever seen those police training videos on how to recognize assailant?
Okay.
I've seen those videos. They're terrifying. The person is completely normal. And then next thing you know, they're attacking you. And it's a split second. You don't even have time to react, right? Your program, I'm pretty sure, will help train people to avoid that emotionally.
Yeah, but that's funny because you're saying that somebody is completely normal and you'll recognize them as an assailant when they start assailing you.
Yeah.
Yes.
They in the police videos, they have little, very tiny little markers, identifiers.
Yeah,
right?
subtle.
Of aggression. Yeah.
Subtle, yeah.
And they're teaching you how to notice those things.
Yeah, in general, what I do is that's why I like to pay attention to patterns, right?
Yeah.
So based on the patterns that I've noticed over time, there are 7 different archetypes. Now, the reason why I teach the archetypes to people is because you'll be able to understand why someone is doing something when you understand what their intention is in the first place. Like, what is their agenda? What is their goal? How are they thinking? Once you understand that, then all of their behavior makes sense and you'll be able to start to see the patterns, right? So that by the time somebody approaches you, based on their approach of you, not a month in, 2 weeks in, 2 months in, but based on their initial approach, you'll be able to be like, all right, I see what's going on here. Yeah. It's this type of archetype. Jazaa K'Allah Khayr, brother. You know, I wish you all the best. I don't think we're compatible. You move on.
Yeah.
And then you meet the next person and you're like, okay, you're this type of archetype. Jazaa K'Allah Khayr, brother, move on. And you'll be able to go through the wrong people so much faster. So much faster. And you'll be able to start to have more time for the right people.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because instead of, spending 2 months, 3 months here, all of that adding up, you're now just going directly from zero to the right person.
Yeah. Probably like
inshallah.
someone who's red-green colorblind
Mm-hmm.
getting color-correcting glasses.
That's what it is.
They'll be able to recognize the signs
That's
so much faster.
That's what it is. I know I didn't get a chance to speak more as much on this topic as I would. I'd love to. But that's okay. Whatever is not covered in the workshop, I'm going to be writing. We're going to start publishing a blog on our website, In Shaa Allah, called the Muslim Marriage Blog. Everything's written by me. I am very old and don't believe in AI, so everything's written by me. And I'm going to compile the information that I wanted to share here on the podcast there. So if you wanted to learn more about how to recognize Mr. Uncommitted, I will also leave a link in the description for you there, inshallah.
You know what else MMB stands for?
Yes.
Last thing.
Okay.
MMB stands for Mega Mini Bucket.
Interesting.
Or just like a normal sized bucket.
Well, it's good to know.
Yeah.
The more you know.
Because knowledge is power.
The knowledge is power.
Yeah,
Not all knowledge is power, but some of it is.
Yeah, like knowledge of death, that would be terrifying.
On that lovely note, I think inshallah we covered everything. So Jazaa K'Allah Khayr, if you made it this far with us, we really appreciate you choosing to spend your time with us. It always means a lot. If you haven't already, please feel free to download your copy of the compatibility guide. It is in the description below. If you would like to work with me, if you're a young woman who is tired of the wasted talking stages and would like to learn more about these archetypes and how to recognize a good man, and get to meeting your husband faster, inshallah, I have 3 spots left in my single to wifey intensive coaching program, where if you sign up this month, in the month of July 2025, you will also get my premarital workshop for free. So if you're interested in that, I will post a link of that as well in the description below. I think that's everything.
For free? Wow.
Which is, yes, for free. So that should be everything. Again, we appreciate you choosing to spend time with us. Have a wonderful week, inshallah, and we'll see you in the next episode. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.